Okay, so I'm just going to go through week 1 of the App Academy for those who are still stuck on it. So let me just restart week 1 here. I'm just going to hit next until I get to the lessons. So lesson 1, Introduction to HTML. They're showing us how tags work here. And I'm just going to open up the folder where my stuff is. I'm going to delete these 2 files here. And I just have this images folder with my own images inside of it. So I'm going to open this up in VS Code. And before anyone asks about this image folder, it's just a folder I made myself and I dragged my own images inside of it. So you can just do that yourself. Right click, new folder, and then once the folder is made, open up a new tab and grab an image from here and just drag it into that folder. Anyways, let's head back to the course files here. So they're teaching us how tags work here. I'm going to close this and create a new file called index.html. And in here, I'm going to type a tag, which is h1. So to create it, we want to use these angle brackets. And between the angle brackets, we want to put the name of our tag, so h1. And notice it created a closing tag here for me. So this is the same thing as the opening tag. The only difference is it has this / at the beginning of it. And basically every tag has a closing tag as well. The only exception to this really is something like an image tag. So img, this doesn't have a closing tag. There's a few like this, but you'll know them when you see them. If you type them out, they won't generate the closing tag for you. Whereas if you type an h1 tag or something, it will generate that closing tag for you. So let's head back and see what they're talking about here. Videos, we have audio, canvas, these are the different tags we have. And it's naming these tags because they're new in HTML5. In previous versions, we didn't have them. Yeah, let's go to the next lesson. So setting up a workspace, they're just going to show you the same thing I just showed you, where you create a folder and you open it up in VS Code and then you create your files. And then we're talking about the text editor, the web browser, and the folder here. I'm just going to skip over that quickly. So this is the basic structure of an HTML document. And I'm going to type that out here so you can see it. The first thing you want at the top is this doc type. And really, I'm going to ignore this in most of the stuff here because it doesn't really add anything to the document. You can just start typing it like HTML at the top. And let me go back. You want to press enter while your cursor is in between the 2 tags, and this will open them up. And inside of here, you want to create a head tag. So let me create a tag called head here, and I want to open this up. Now below this, but still inside of the HTML tags, I want to create body tags. Okay, so now we have body here and we have head here. And what this will do is the head tags are used for holding settings like the title of our website or where we link to other files and stuff like that. And then the body is the actual HTML that goes into our page. So this is where all our headings and buttons and all of that stuff will go. The title that I mentioned up here is the title that you see at the top of the page here. Okay, so let's hit next here. And let me just go back here. So notice how everything has an opening and a closing tag. So the head has an opening and a closing, the body has an opening and a closing. And if we want to put something, for example, inside of the body, it needs to go between that opening and closing tag. Same for the head. And everything needs to be wrapped in the HTML opening and closing tag. Nothing goes outside of it. So here they're doing creating paragraphs. To do this, we just use a p tag. So I'm going to put a p tag here, and I'm just going to say, hello, this is a paragraph. And if I save this and head back to the website, we didn't open it here. So to open it, you can either, let me just close this. So you can either double click on the index file here, and that should open it up in your browser. Or if this doesn't work, you can drag and drop the file into your browser. And if you want to, you can install Live Server. So if you head here to extensions on the left hand side, and you search for Live Server here, you can find this Live Server button here. If you click on it and install it, you'll then notice that inside of your files you have this Go Live button at the bottom here, and if you click on that, it will start a live server for the file you're working on. Now what a live server does is it will automatically update whenever you change something in your file. So if I were to add another paragraph here, and I type something else, as soon as I hit save here, if I head back to the page, the text will already be there. If I didn't do this, I need to refresh each time I change something to see the changes. So I hope you understand how the paragraph tag works now. You just need an opening paragraph tag and a closing paragraph tag, and anything you put in between is the paragraph that it will display on the website. So I'm going to hit next here. And now it says creating a heading. So it's teaching us how to use the H tags, H1 up to H6. So I'm just going to create something here real quick. I'm going to say H1, and inside of it I'm just going to write the word heading here. And if I save this and head back, you can see that it's really large here. So H1 is the largest of the H tags. If we wanted to make different H tags like they show in the tutorial, let's create 6 of them here. And I'm going to rename all of them from H1 down to H6. And notice here that when I change the opening tags, it also changes the closing tags. This is not something that VS Code does by default. It's an extension I'm using called Tag Renamer. So let me just close this. This is it, Auto Rename Tag. So if you search for it here and install it, then you'll be able to rename just the opening tag, and it will handle renaming the closing tag for you. Or if you don't install it, every time you change an opening tag, you're going to have to manually change the closing tag as well. So anyways, let's look at what this does. As you can see, H1 is the biggest, then we have everything going down gets a bit smaller until we hit H6, which is the smallest. So I hope you understand these are just headings, they're all in bold, and the bigger the number, the smaller it is. So let's go back to the next lesson. So here it's just talking about the different file types. HTML is for websites, CSS is for your style sheets, and then you have your image formats, your video formats. All of this you can read through it yourself. Then it says we reached the end of this section. Hit next, and now we reach the end of the first section of week 1, so I'm going to go to the second section. I'm going to click yes here because I've already gone through it once. Now it says we want to resize an image. I think it started me off from halfway through or something, so I'm going to head back. Okay, so this is lesson 1, creating a folder for your images. I already showed you how to do that. You right click, select new here, folder, and then you give it a name. I've already created one called images here, and I've dragged these images into them. If you are unsure how to do that, again, you just click the plus button up there to open a new tab. You go to your pictures folder or wherever, and you drag one of these pictures into your images folder. So I'm going to skip through this part because we've already spoken about it. One more thing in this first lesson, they give you pictures to download here. You don't need to download them. Like I just showed you, you can use your own images. I know this download button here is faulty a bit, so sometimes the images don't download. But anyways, just use your own images. Now we're adding images to the folder. I've already shown you how to do that. You just drag it in. And to add it into your code, where they show you how to do it here, you use the image tag img, and then you give it a source property, and you want to type the location of the image here. So I'm going to show you that now. And you'll notice when you type img here and it auto-completes, it's going to give you a source and an alt. And in the website, it doesn't show you alt here. So what the alt is it's the text that will be read out if, for example, someone blind is viewing the website and they can't see the image, or it's what will be shown if the image can't load. So if the image is deleted from the server or something and someone loads up the website, it won't be able to show the image, so it will show this text instead. So under source here, I'm just going to get rid of alt right now because we don't want to use it. Under source here, between these two parentheses, we want to give the location of the image. So mine is inside this images folder, and then it's one of these files. So I'm going to type images here. If your folder is named something else, you have to type something else here. And then we select one of these files. So I have to select it from here because the names are too complex for me to type out. But if you just have a simple file name, you can just type it out here. So I'll select this one and I'll hit save. And if I go back to my page here, the image will display. Now, one thing I want to mention is you want to make sure that your index file is not inside of the images folder. They need to be next to each other. Or if it is inside of your images folder, you need to get rid of this images tag here. So make sure you understand how linking works. You can't just randomly type stuff in here. It won't just work like that. If it's inside of a folder, it needs to say the name of the folder / and then the name of the file. If the index file and the images are in the same folder, then you can just type the name of the image. You always need to put the extension here like .jpg or .png or whatever. And yeah, that's how images would work. So let's head back here and we'll click on next, and they're just giving us more information about image types here. You can go through it and read it in your own time. Lesson 4 is resizing images. So to resize an image, we just want to type width here, width, and the equals to sign and your parentheses. And inside of here, that's not parentheses, that's quotes. And inside of the two quotes, we want to give a width. For example, let's type 200 here and hit save. And if I head back and go to the site, you'll see that the image is now small. It's 200 by 200. We can also use height here, but since the image is a square, anything we set the width to will automatically be set to the height because it can't deform the image. So if the height was, let's say, 2000 and we set the width to 500, it's not going to keep that height at 2000 because then the image will be really deformed. So yeah, whatever we type in here, it will scale the image to that. So now let's type like 400. We'll hit save. We'll go back and now it's bigger. And this is basically how you use properties. You type the property name, then an equals to sign. Then you use your quotes here, and inside of the quotes you put a value. So I hope you guys get that. I'm going to move on to the next lesson now. Okay, so now they just want us to add more images here, and they have the height set to 150. So I'm going to get rid of the width here. Now just set that to 150 just so that it's the same as in the video. And I'll just duplicate this 2 times. You should retype it manually so that you get practice typing them out. And I'm going to change the name of the image here. I'm going to put something else. And I'm going to change this one as well. Okay, so if I save this and head back to the page, we can see that now it has these 3 images at the bottom. And now let's head to the next lesson. Okay, so now section 2 is complete. Now we're going to section 3 here. And in section 3, we're going to click next, next. So hyperlinks is what this section is about. Your first hyperlink, so they're teaching us how to make a link to go to somewhere else. And at the bottom here, I'm just going to create that link. So to create it, we want to use an A tag like this. And you can see that now we can type something like go to Google. And this would be a link, but it's not actually going to work now. So let me go back and show you. So the text is here, but we can't click on it or do anything to it. And that's because a link needs a property that goes in here, which is href, href. So again, to use a property, we need to type it out, href, and we need to put the equals to sign and then the 2 quotes here. And between the quotes, we need to type the URL of the website we wanted to send the people to. But we need to type out the full URL, not just www.google.com. So the full URL is at the beginning here. We need to put https and then a colon and 2 forward slashes. You can see an example of this if you go to the course and you look at the URL they put here. And notice they put HTTP here, but we need to use the S as well. That's a new thing that was added probably after these videos were recorded. So the S is actually for security, and most news sites use the S. So now let's go back and look at our link. If we were to click on it, it will take us to Google, just as we'd expect. And yeah, let's move on to the next page here. So now they're adding a second page. So I'm just going to call this about.html like they say here. So let's head back. Here on the left hand side, I'm going to click on new file here. And I'm going to name this about.html. Again, notice where your files are. The about shouldn't be inside the images folder. It should be on its own separately here, just like the index file. If it is inside there, just drag it out. So let's open up the about. I hope you remember how to make the basic structure of an HTML document. It's HTML. Then we need the head tag. And then below the closing of the head tag, we want a body tag. So I'm just going to save this. And now let's look at what they want us to do here. So they just want an H2 with about us and a paragraph that says hello and welcome. So inside of the body, remember all content goes inside the body, all settings goes inside the head. So inside of the body, I'm going to create an H2 tag, and I'm going to say, what did they type there? About us. And then below this, I'm going to use a P tag. And I'm going to type hello and welcome. You can type whatever you want, but I'm just going along with the lessons for now. And here they give you some information so that you don't accidentally do the wrong thing, like leaving a space in your file name. So all file names must not have spaces in them, or you have to use a dash or an underscore instead of a space if you really want it spaced out. But I suggest you just don't leave a space to begin with. So let's hit next here. Now we want to link to the second page. So to do this, we create another link here. So I'm going to duplicate this. You shouldn't be duplicating it. You should be typing it out again yourself. And I'm going to get rid of this link here. And remember, it's still in the double quotes here. I'm going to type the name of the new file we created. So about.html. And if I save this now and we head back to our page, if I click on this, it will take us to Google. And if I click on the new one, which we forgot to change the text, it still says go to Google, but it will take us to the about page here. and I'm just going to change the texture so it says go to about. Okay, so now if we click the about page here, it will take us there. And yeah, that's how links work. So I'm going to hit next here. A page with an image. So what they want us to do is to create a page that just displays an image and then link to it. So I'll just call it boat.html. I don't have a picture of a boat, so I'm going to name it, let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna name it boat anyway, it doesn't really matter what I show in it. So again, up here, new file, I'm going to name it boat.html. And in here, I'm not going to type out the whole thing again. I'm just going to auto-complete it because I've already explained it a few times now. And now they just want us to put the boat image there and then a link to take us back to the home page. So I don't have an image of a boat. For the href here, I'm just going to, actually I don't want an href there, I'm going to use an image tag, img. And for the source here, I'm just going to use images / any random image I have. I'm going to remove the alt here, and this time we don't want to change the height and the width, we just want to display the entire image on the page. And at the bottom here, I'm going to do / okay, let me just close that. Okay, now we want to put a tag here and we want to say br, and we use a / and then we close it. And this will just leave a line between the image and what we're going to type after it. So if we head back to our page here, you can see on these images here, it didn't move these links onto the next line. So that's what the br tag does. It would end it here and move the links onto the next line. And I'm going to add that into the index file as well so that we can see how it works. Now if I head back, the links should be on their own line here. Anyways, we've created the boat file here. Now we want to create a link that takes us back to the index file from this boat file. And I'm going to use an a tag with an href of index.html. Again, make sure these 3 HTML files are on their own, not inside of the images folder. And yeah, let's close this. And here we want to just say go home or something. And yeah, now we have a page to display the the image. So I want to click next. Now we want to link the image to the image file. What I mean by that is we don't want to create a link down here. We want to use one of the images as a link. So to do that, we just need to surround one of those images in a tag. So to do this, I'm going to click at the beginning here, and I'm going to open up new curly brackets, new angle brackets like this. And inside of it, I'm just going to put the a tag here. And then at the end here where the image ends, so at the beginning and then at the end, I'm going to close that a tag, so with the / here. And for the href here, I'm going to point it to that boat file we just created. So boat.html. And if I save this now and head back to the page, when I hover over the image, you can see my mouse changes here. So now I can click on it, and that will take us to the image page. And you can see here's the link we put at the bottom that says go home. It will take us back to the home page. So let's click next here, and we're done. So this is lesson 1, week 1, all of the lessons in week 1. And I hope everyone is up to speed now. I'll be doing week 3 soon, but yeah, I'm waiting for it to open here. And also I need to get a new pair of headphones because I can't play the videos on here and listen to them at the same time because my speakers will get picked up by the microphone and will cause an echo thingy. So yeah, week 3 I might be a bit late on making the stream for that. But yeah guys, I'll see you in the next video.